It's like, if I know that I'm not happy in this corporate job, right? So what am I going to do about it? But before I get to the what am I going to do about it, first I have to actually hold myself accountable to see, what am I doing? There's a question of femininity that we touched on earlier as well. And the question of femininity is that, sometimes when you are a female, especially, and you're headed into that corporate workspace, you've got to be really tough, especially if you want to get promoted. There are certain tough behaviors that become very masculine inside of you that manifests. It starts to manifest naturally because it's a thing about survival. Like, you have to. So sometimes you have to put away some of these feminine characteristics, and it makes you, it makes you maybe stronger for the corporate environment, but at the same time, you maybe lose a lot of what you have as a female, as a woman. I can't control what people are doing, but I can control what I'm doing. So it's kind of like, this goes hand in hand with the boundary setting thing too. But it's like, accountability needs to come from yourself, and accountability needs to come from within. If you can't question the things that you're doing, and you can't put yourself in a situation where you have to fight for either your survival or you fight for something better for your life, you're actually lying to yourself. That I have gone down a certain route to get to a certain point where I now had to reverse some of the behaviors that I was doing in order to become more feminine and to really embrace my femininity again. I think with the gym journey, the community is phenomenal. They are motivating me 100%. But if it came to anything else, like if it's a mental struggle, or if it's an emotional struggle, or if it's a business challenge struggle, if it's something that's, really deep, I can't solve the problem there and then. I think that there are key individuals that I do have in my life that I would turn to for that support. I think back then I was pretty timid. I find that women lack that drive and action taking because of things like, we're not allowed to say no to somebody, or we're not allowed to come across as it comes across as mean-spirited if you want to put a boundary in place. Or I do actually feel like I would tell myself that if I'd learned to say no politely and faster, it would have been better. I could have saved myself a lot of damage, because you meet people along the way, but you're not able to deal with them. The one thing, I started an Ayurvedic diet, and I started moving straight into Ayurveda, and I absolutely love it. Ever since I learned about what I should be eating and what not, and when, and the times and all of that, I felt like my entire system started to change. And when the system started to change, then the outward appearance started to change. I started to lose weight a lot easier, and I didn't get sick. I just never, ever got sick.
Hi, guys. Before we dive into today's episode, I've got a quick favor to ask. If you've been enjoying the conversations here on Zen and Now, whether it's helped you reflect, grow, or just feel a little bit more seen, take a second to hit that subscribe or follow button on whatever platform you're listening on. Subscribing means you won't miss a single episode, and it also helps more people discover the show, people who might really need these kind of real and honest conversations. And if you're feeling extra generous, leave a quick rating or review. It honestly makes a huge difference and keeps the podcast going strong. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Zen and Now. And today I'm joined by someone whose journey isn't just about reps or routines, but rebellion, a return to self through strength. Akashni Weimers is more than a fitness creator. She's a force, a guide, and a living testament to what it means to rebuild yourself from the inside out. In this conversation, we dive deep into her personal story, the pain that shaped her, the power she reclaimed, and how she's redefining what fitness, femininity, and freedom really means. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome. So, Akashni, before we get into all the nitty-gritty of who Akashni is, can you just give us a little bit of a background story, before Akashni was the rebel?
Thank you. I just want to say that introduction, I don't know how you picked up so much about me. Obviously we know each other from social media, and, I hope that my posts are compelling enough, but that story was really accurate and it touched me because, that's exactly what it is. It's about reclaiming femininity, but also becoming really strong. I think I was always a rebellion. Always was a rebel, at heart growing up. But if you ask me, sort of what is my backstory, I'm just a regular person who grew up in a very regular community thinking that, all's going to be well if I went to school, if I did my best, if I tried my best, and if I smiled a lot, if I was nice to people, that would actually result in really good things for me in my life. And I think that some of that is true, but life is different, and it's different for everybody. So I have a journey of strength, and it's a privilege to be able to tell it to you today.
Yeah. And why the rebel?
The rebel. Well, growing up, I feel like I've always had a rebellious nature. I grew up in Durban, South Africa, where I didn't grow up there until the age of 9 years old. So basically born there. I was born to both parents and I lived with my gran for a lot of years. And from the age of 9 years old, we moved to Johannesburg. So, that took a lot of courage, I think, for my parents to make that shift both in mindset and in lifestyle. And both of them were pretty rebellious too. And I think I picked up on a lot of those strengths because those traits, because I feel like if you want to get ahead in life, I felt like if I wanted to get ahead, if I wanted to do well in life, if I wanted to excel at certain things, I couldn't just be this quiet, person who never spoke up for herself, who never actually pushed the boundaries, or who never did anything that was, defiant or that brought about some sort of change in my life. And I really had to make that change. It was a difficult upbringing.
Yeah. At that, I think you just murdered your parents, right? At that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of mirrored my parents. I think my grandmother was a real force to reckon with.
Okay.
And I think they were all very encouraging of a rebellious spirit. And so I feel that, to a large extent, I was pretty free in my household to be able to act in a way that questioned, perhaps maybe it was question what elders were doing or question what society wanted me to do. But I think overall, it's something that has been a positive force for me as opposed to being a negative force, which it is often, attributed to being. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me something. Growing up in Durban, I myself, I'm from Johannesburg. We had a perception of what Durban was like growing up. I mean, in the 80s, 90s, always come down to Durban for vacation, and that's all we saw. We saw
Yeah.
the fun side of life.
Yeah.
Growing up in Durban, what was it like?
I was born in an area called Newlands West, and I would say that it was a pretty rough neighborhood to be in. I don't think that there were a lot of opportunities growing up, and I don't think that there were a lot of examples, both in terms of positive male or female figures, that could have taken a lot of people in that community far in life. So I think that a lot of people lean on peers to do whatever they see is important to do in order to grow and in order to be either a better person or sometimes not, but how to make money, how to survive. And so I saw all of those things. I saw the bad side of life. I saw the good side that it could be. And I told myself from a very young age that if I wanted to get out of the community, if I wanted to excel in life, I had to do better. I had a grandmother who was very strong, as I mentioned, and she often told me that you need to build assets from from a young age. You need to travel. You need to go overseas. And these were very progressive things for an old person to tell you at that time, especially a female to another female. But I think that she was such a powerful force in my life that she actually just really pushed me to do things. And I felt brave. I felt courageous to do them.
Yeah, because I mean, we've seen the migration from Durban to the north. A lot of people come up for opportunities, and like you mentioned, there weren't that many opportunities. I always wondered why that was. I always wanted to ask the question: what do you feel was the driving factor of why they wasn't that amount of opportunities in KwaZulu Natal for our people and just South Africans in general?
Yeah. Yeah. When you look at the major professions that are doing well, it's stereotypical. Like if you're a doctor, you're going to do very well. If you're an accountant, you're going to do very well. And those are often the types of fields that people encourage you to go into. But if you wanted to do any other thing, any other business, I think it's pretty much discouraged if there wasn't a set way that you knew for sure that you were going to actually get there. So I think overall, I felt this sense of rage. I felt the sense of defiance, that I was being told the wrong things. And I wanted to actually break that mold. I wanted to actually be more free than this. I wanted to feel like I wasn't disempowered. But that's how I kind of felt, in that environment at the time. And my parents saw that. They saw that the school that I was in, they saw that the friends that I was hanging out with, all of that, it's got this major ripple effect for your life, So I think that at that stage, they thought to themselves, I can't send this child to the school. I had to take her out. So we have to do whatever we can to get out of this place and go to another place where there are opportunities where I can send her to a better school. I can put her in the circles of friends who are going to grow in life as opposed to, maybe be stagnant or go down a wrong path and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think kudos to your parents for recognizing that and sacrificing for sacrificing that moment in time to actually try and get the best out of you, because they probably thought the environment that you were in wasn't conducive for you to grow as a person and as a kid as well.
Big time. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy to make those decisions and uproot to go to another. Even people say immigration to another country is difficult. I think any movement from even just provinces within South Africa, because you still have the familiarities of the country you grow up in.
Yeah.
And I think it's still a major shift, and some people make it and some people don't. It's
true. And you have a love for it. You have a love for your country too. You establish this love and this trust and this, exactly as you mentioned, a familiarity with the system that you're working in. And when you start to excel in that system, you feel very passionately towards wanting to build in that system or maybe improve that system somehow, contribute to that society. And I think that that's a powerful thing too. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I think, provided an opportunity to not even just leave the state, but just travel to another school outside of Lenasia. And I'm not sure what happened. I don't know the details of it, but I didn't take that opportunity for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And looking back in hindsight, I don't know what could have been different, or maybe my life would have been different. But like I said, if we don't take the opportunities, or we don't even try it, we never know.
Yeah.
Even if we fail, it's okay.
Yeah. That's so powerful. Like if we fail, it's okay. I think people don't say that enough. And I hear people saying it now and then, but I feel like it's still kind of trendy and I'm not sure if they truly believe it, but it's definitely scary, but it's 100% true.
Yeah. No, it's the fear that controls us from trying something new. Because at the end of the day, I think cultural training teaches us not to, tread too much outside.
Exactly.
Or go too much towards the deep end because the fear of drowning or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, as we learn to swim as well, I mean, we were just encouraged to keep going towards the deeper end, because I mean, you learn the basics. If you have the basics, you're able to navigate anything.
Yeah.
So similar in swimming, you learn to breathe, you learn to float, and the requirements to get to the deep end, you have it. It's just about now how are you able to thread.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. I think it's really wonderful if you are also someone who is doing it and in the process learning how to as well to teach other people. But it's not just about teaching other people. It's about really finding that method for yourself. I'm not a believer that you need to be taught every single thing and then that's the only time that you can actually do it. And I often hear people saying that to me, saying, well, we weren't taught, but you don't have to be taught, right? There's some things that where you can, by testing, by trial and error, you can actually learn those things for yourself. But the only way that you will is if you actually just take that step each time. You've just got to take that next step and that next step. And like you say, sometimes you will fail, yes, but sometimes you won't fail. And that's also a possibility.
Failing forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Akashni, where did the relationship between, from fitness or for fitness begin for you?
Sure. That is a very interesting one. So a couple years ago, when I joined my first corporate job, I was really excited to be there, and I thought, "Wow, I made it!" And all my family members were telling me, "Now you're set for life. This is going to be it. This is great. This is amazing." And I was really excited. And for the next 10 years of that experience, I did really well. I excelled. I went up the corporate ladder. I did the stereotypical Johannesburg thing, you know. Um, but as I was doing this, I wasn't really realizing that my health was taking a huge knock. I was really feeling the effects of being overly fatigued. I felt anger, also anger and frustration for the things that the way I was behaving in the job. I think it can make you really angry and it can make you really stressed. And sometimes, that can make you maybe, feel a lot of pressure. So I didn't really realize what that was doing to me from a health perspective and also from a weight perspective. I was just gaining a lot of weight. But I didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I didn't, no, I wasn't conscious of it and nobody was telling me anything about it, giving me feedback and all of that, you know. Um, but then, I think by and large, as I was going along that journey, I started to just tell myself, you know what, this is just not on anymore. Unfortunately, a couple of years back, just a year back, my husband and I separated. And I think that was a major shift for me. And I think that really woke me up to starting to really think a lot deeper about who I am, what I've become, how I look, where I'm headed to in life. And it was just this whole self-reflective, process for me. So I think whilst doing that, I started to look at, well, my health. I started to look at, do I want to look this way or it's not just about looks, but it was a feeling, did I feel proud of who I was when I looked in the mirror? Did I like what I saw? And I think that as women, especially, we don't give ourselves that permission to really ask those questions sometimes. It's not just about looks. It's about, do you feel good? Do you feel good about how you look? So I started to take care of myself. In that period of, feeling very remorseful, feeling really regretful, feeling really sad, really down all the time, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to let myself go down in this direction. So I did two things. The one thing, I started an Ayurvedic diet, and I started moving straight into Ayurveda, and I absolutely love it. I'm never going to stop. And secondly, I started going to gym, but I started going to gym like every single day. And I just told myself, I'm just going to do this thing and I am just not going to stop. And so that was how I started in the weight loss and fitness phase of my life, which I'm still in, and I don't think that's going to stop.
I think some of my previous guests will be very happy to hear more and more people are getting into the Ayurvedic space.
So glad. I'm so glad. It's such a blessing to have been able to find Ayurveda. Yeah.
Yeah. And the benefits, you did you feel it straight away, or was it something that your body had to transitionally get used to?
I think your body has to transition and get used to it. I used to have like severe asthma and things like that. Ever since I learned about what I should be eating and what not and when and the times and all of that, I felt like my entire system started to change. And when the system started to change, then the outward appearance started to change. I started to lose weight a lot easier and I didn't get sick. I just never ever got sick. I used to get sick in the past and go to the doctor for medication. I've stopped taking medication. I don't need to take medication because I just don't get sick. And I think it's a misconception that you need to actually get the flu every single year. You need to actually go to the doctor once a year. It's normal. It's not normal. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
normal. Because you actually don't have to. And I think Ayurveda has really shaped my life in a very, very positive way. Yeah.
Yeah. So one practice of Ayurveda that's a non-negotiable that
One
wouldn't
practice
change.
is it's about how the body adjusts itself in terms of heat. So at night, now that it's winter, I think knowing how your body adjusts to heat, what is the right appropriate amount of heat to actually add into your body, what foods you should be eating that cause heat, what foods should you not be eating after a certain hour, those types of things. I've added that into my diet, and I really, really feel that I have a lot more energy as well, as a result of changing those eating patterns. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So say a listener is listening to this and thinking about getting into or trying to understand their body. What's the one thing you would advise them on to do when, especially as women, as being a married man as well. I look at my wife as well and the transition she goes through as she ages along. We also need to understand how we can help uh, them along. What's the one thing you would be able to advise on, just say a little girl or a young woman who wants to improve themselves? What's the one thing you would advise them on in the Ayurvedic space?
Absolutely. I think I want to say learning is actually the most important thing. So the first thing you should do is literally just go onto the internet and find a test, a credible Ayurvedic test that can actually tell you, where do you fall in Vata, Pitta, Kapha, what type of body type do you lean towards? And I think that once you know that, it will actually give you a proper guide as to all of the foods that are causing those imbalances in your body. And when you realize that you are eating those foods and you stop eating them, you start to see the change. And it's definitely not going to happen overnight. But I think if you give it at least 6 months, you can see some sort of change with regards to doing that, whatever they advise in those tests. Because they're pretty credible. And I think there's a lot of information out there in the internet. And there's a really cool YouTuber I follow. He's called the Fit Tuber. And he's from India. And he's got a lot of people following him, and he gives really great advice in a palatable way for the modern person who's going to work and coming back. Yeah.
Were there any emotional or mental challenges while transitioning that you felt I'm really struggling and I can't do this anymore? Was there a moment like that, or was it something that you pushed through?
I think that actually happens to me every single week. I post a lot on social media, and I do it to encourage people to do the same thing, yes. But I also do it to hold myself accountable. I do it because the minute that I declare something on social media and I say, like, let's say, for example, I say, oh, come, July 2025, guys, I'm going to be at weight 74 kgs or whatever the case may be. I know that I'm putting that declaration out there to prove that I'm going to, first of all, I can do it, and that everybody else can hold me accountable to it, because I don't want to be seen as somebody who didn't actually do what she said she was going to do. I don't want to be that person. I'm not that person. So it's like the minute that I put something out there and I know that people are going to also watch and see if I am doing it, so that they know that they can do it, it makes me feel happy and motivated that I can. But yes, I do feel like I can't do this every single week, at least once. I do feel like I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I can't do this. I've got a lot of work to do. And I start to make those excuses. But then, I have established a really powerful community and they keep in touch with me. And I think that sense of community, which is now shifted from the physical to the digital space, is really powerful. You can reach so many people like that. And if literally 1,000 people are not that many, but if like 100 people actually tell you every day, hey, Akashni, I haven't seen a video of yours, or hey, you really motivated me to go to gym today. I wasn't going to go, but you made me go. And indirectly, I feel like going. So it's kind of like a really positive thing. So it keeps me in balance. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. I feel the same way. Sometimes it's very challenging to get motivated and moving, but after that, when you've done that session or whatever activity that you felt like not doing it, it's just like a weight off your shoulders, and you've achieved something.
Absolutely.
Something that I'd like to share is when uh, a lot of people know that I was institutionalized back in 2019. One practice they made us aware of is every day it's a non-negotiable. Everybody has to wake up at a certain time and do physical activity, because that starts that starts to release uh, any frustrations or any feelings of depression or anxiety within your body. It just calms you down,
Yeah.
and physical body then, I mean physical movement, excuse me, starts to improve blood flow to the brain and to the rest of the body. It just starts making you feel a little better. And I think when,
Absolutely.
like you said, we just also have to remind, as much as we advocate for online and show ourselves in vulnerability and the way we are, just to empower other people, we also need that for ourselves. Because
Yes, we
sometimes
need that for ourselves.
accountability for yourself is so powerful, because it makes you want to show up for yourself. But it takes a very strong person to realize that it's not easy. I will say this again, it's very, very difficult to show up for yourself every single day. And yes, some days you're gonna feel like crap. It's okay. You're allowed to do that, because you're a human being. End of the day, we don't go through to this to life having it all figured out.
Yes,
Hence why, be kind to yourself. If you show up for yourself, great. If you don't, it's okay too. But just remember, don't stay in that mode for too long. That's when it becomes a consistent habit, and you want to be creating a very conducive and healthy, consistent habit going forward.
absolutely. I love that. That's actually really true. And some people are more introverted than others. I have a hashtag that I carry on my social media. It goes confident introvert because I want to empower other people who are introverted like me. Introverted, which doesn't mean shy, by the way, it doesn't mean quiet. It means just somebody who actually like conserves their energy and they don't really want to talk to people all the time. So I as a person don't want to necessarily always talk to people face to face. I would rather do things alone. I like to do things by myself and I like to think about things because it helps me reflect more when there's a quiet and there's nobody around. However, that makes it difficult to then actually connect with a lot of people. So social media has got a lot of flaws, absolutely, but I think it's very successful in being able to connect you to the right people at the same time. Because if you have that common interest and they are holding you accountable, the chances are you're going to be really successful at whatever it is that you're doing, so long as you are in the right stream with the right channel with the right people. And I think those people are really important to me. So I want to carry on meeting, more people who are going to be inspiring me on this gym journey and who I can also inspire because clearly they also need the same amount of support. So it's kind of like they're also looking for the exact same thing that I'm looking for. So it's kind of like a really good, healthy, sort of situation. It's a healthy community. Yeah.
I'd like to add one more to that, and it's purpose.
Yeah. Oh, yes, 100%. Purpose. Yes. You can't do anything without purpose. If you're not driving toward anything, then you're just basically just doing forever. And I want to say the result is very important. I know that people like to say the process is important, which I do believe, but I want to say the result is so super important. The minute that you start to see results, like the minute that I lost literally just 5 kgs, that first 5 kgs that I lost, I was over the moon. My entire body, my entire face changed. And my entire self-esteem changed because I know I can do it. I knew I could do it. I taught myself that I could achieve this, whereas I couldn't do it for all those years before. But in 1 year, I could achieve this massive thing. And for me, it's truly massive because I've had a negative attitude towards exercising and all of that before. But the minute that I started to see result, then there was no stopping me because then I knew, well, if it can carry on this trajectory, it's like, where can I end up in year number 2, in year number 3? Now I'm starting to look at all these people who are pretty muscled and they're pretty strong, but they're not just muscled. They're actually talking about how longevity is now a goal for them. They're talking about how, they can do so much more, and, I'm getting older, so it's like I'm seeing a lot of people with the back problems and the leg problems and all of that. And I don't want to have it. so, so yeah.
Yeah, you make a very interesting point there. Longevity. I'll include mobility to that as well, because as we age along and go through life, things start to break down. They're not as strong as they were, and it's like as you grow older, it says you lose 1% of muscle mass,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's important just to able to wake up, like get your body out of bed, and just to be able
Yes.
to lift a spoon to feed yourself, those kind of things. Because we've seen our let's be honest, we've seen our grandparents and uh, struggle
Yes.
just
Big
even
time.
just everyday life, tasks and activities, and they need caregivers. And if we can just minimize that effect for ourselves, why not? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
That's the kind of mindset that we need to, or I am personally trying to just advocate for myself and my family. Just build, start lifting weights, and you're not going to get big. It's okay, but it's just to
Yeah.
strengthen your muscles so that
It's
you
to
are
stay.
able to, you know, like you said, longevity.
Yes. It's not often popular to speak about this aspect of it, but I think that in our Indian community as well, you have a lot of pockets of people who will not want to accept going to gym, wanting to change, and they at the same time may not want you to do that. So it's,
Yeah.
I do have a lot of people that I've known in my past that may not have been thrilled at the idea of going to gym, but then also not, and then also posting it up on social media. It's kind of taboo. It's, I come from a very conservative background too. And even though my parents, I felt that they were pretty liberal for the community that we were raised in, I do actually feel like it's unspoken, that people are not often supportive of going to gym, of actually, being fit, being lean. And I think that it's changing a lot now. And I think that there are separate communities that are, promoting running, promoting health, promoting all of that. But I'm saying that the community that I was brought up in was not always very supportive of that kind of lifestyle. I think it's more that, people wanted you to be similar to them so that we could get along, so that things could
Yeah.
be normal and things could be at a particular standard and level. So we were all basically on the same level. And I think it's a fear thing again. I think it's a thing about them feeling safe more than them not wanting you to actually progress. But something does actually need to change, the way we shift that mindset and we come out of that and we actually start telling each other that we can and we should, and that it's actually okay to better yourself. It's okay to change. It's okay to do this better thing. You don't have to do what your friend is doing. You can actually be the one to step out of the boundaries and actually do something. And I really believe in that spirit. Step out and just do it.
Love that energy. Yeah. In terms of nutrition, do you get that from your daily intake, or do you need to find Western ways as well, or do you just it's just solely now Ayurvedic?
I actually incorporate both of them. So I don't always eat like just traditional foods every day, but when I do eat foods, I make sure that I incorporate the right spices according to my Ayurvedic diet. I'm not like super strict. There are times when I'm not going to do every single thing to the T, but especially in terms of like what you mentioned, like ginger and garlic, I try to keep those things as raw as possible. I try not to buy almost any processed foods, and I try to keep my foods very simple. So it's like when I use, any of the masalas or any chili products, even chili itself, I make sure that I try to balance that with a mustard seed or like a fennel seed. I make sure that those spices are in there because I know that one is highly acidic and one is highly alkaline. And I know that those two are going to balance each other out. So when I actually eat them, I physically feel better. I used to have a lot of, acid problems and stuff in the past, and I just don't have them anymore because just with a simple shift of spices. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gut health.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday I posted that, that little snack, because sometimes, you crave that little sweetness in your diet,
Yeah.
and with blueberries being a, superfood, and dark chocolate as well with nuts, and yeah.
I
So
saw
just,
that.
yeah, just something I thought, okay, let me start sharing those kind of things.
Yeah.
Try and get even the younger ones, and maybe like my sister and I'm, just to improve, get my nieces or nephews, just introduced to
Yeah.
those kind of uh, sweets, kind of kind of say.
Very good. Very cool.
You never know who it might reach, and like you said, being on social media has its benefits. So those are the kind of things that we try and advocate for. but we're also showing up for ourselves because we're doing it. We're not just saying it, we're doing it. Hence
Yes.
why your page, and hence why I was attracted to your page, and because you show up for yourself, you're doing it even in your vulnerable state. Your authentic self. That's the most important thing. You're showing your people that this is me, this is Akashni, like it or leave it. And
Yeah.
your inner circle, whoever is going to be there will be there. Whoever is not,
Yes.
thanks for coming.
Absolutely. And I've seen tons of people come and go, and not everybody's going to like you, not everybody's going to like what you do. But I think the people who stay are people that I form that close connection with. And honestly, to tell you the truth, like, being on this journey, and I call myself the Arcana Rebel, Arcana meaning the ancient knowledge. I'm a gamer. I love gaming, and I love the whole
Oh, awesome.
alternative community. So it's a very popular word that is used amongst gamers, Arcana, and the Rebel obviously being a person with that spirit to be able to thrive against, the norms that you are taught. But, what I want to say is that getting up and showing up for yourself every day is absolutely critical. It's something we have to give ourselves actual permission to do. We have to actually say to ourselves, the purpose here is not always just about, oh, it's our children. I get it's really important. We're not doing it for our husband. We're not doing it for our wives. We're not doing it. We have to give ourselves permission to say, I'm doing this for myself. I think sometimes we want to say, why am I trying to be healthier? Because I want to be there for my kids. And I get that. I do. I really do get that. And I also respect that. But I'm saying that's not the only reason that you're doing it. You have to give yourself permission to say, I'm doing it for myself. Otherwise, it won't be sustainable. It won't be
Yeah, of course.
sustainable. Yeah.
It's always like in the airplane, you've got to put your mask on first before you help somebody else.
Yeah. Otherwise, how are you going to help? It's just a logical thing for me. So it's kind of like you find out your true purpose. It could be your kids, it could be your husband, it could be your wife. But the thing is that sometimes it's not, and you have to really understand if it isn't. Because if you don't really find what the true why is, it's going to fall flat. Everything will fall flat if you actually don't do what your purpose is actually driving you to do. And it's inside of you, it's in there. You just have to find out what that is. You have to give
Yeah.
yourself permission to literally find what it is and then actually do that. Yeah.
A friend of mine, felt a little discouraged because she's also on her own journey now and being on the online space, and she's showing up for herself every single day. And she posted sometimes she feels she's not getting the responses back that it deserves. And I could tell the disparity in her tone of she didn't have to say anything, you just felt it. So I just reached out. I said, don't worry, these kind of things do happen, but just know that we are listening. We are on the other side. Whether we respond or not, just remember that we are there. I think that that little small gesture, or to make somebody feel like they're not just doing the work and nobody's listening, it is so important, because I felt like I wish I had that growing up. Just somebody to say, you know what, I see what you're doing. Don't worry. I know sometimes it's going to get very difficult, but just stick to your why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And it all comes back full circle.
Yeah.
And some days, some posts are going to do better than others, which is okay. But you just need to come back to your why and stick to your purpose.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Yeah. Do you agree with that? You're doing this, for me, like when I post stuff up, right? It's like I'm not really thinking about all these likes, and obviously when it happens, I like it. I like when people like my posts. I like when people comment on my posts. But do you agree with the idea that we're doing this because we actually just we want to hold ourselves accountable, but we also want to share this journey with others so that it can help them? I think that I do like the likes and stuff like that, but I'm not really doing it for that purpose. So if no one actually likes it, it's still a mirror I can look at. I can still look at that video and say, wow, I did this today. And I'm proud of myself. I get a feeling of pride that I did this thing today. That because I know that I didn't want to do this thing today. I didn't want to do this thing. But when I look at it at the end of the day, I'm like, but I actually did this thing today. And I can tick that box off and say that I've done this now 5 times a week. At the end of my week, I go and count that and say, well, I've actually done it. So that social media wall actually becomes sort of like an archive of things that I've done for the week, my achievements for the week. It's tangible. I can see it and I can feel it and I know I've done it. So
Yeah, and you have proof of it.
and I have proof of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point.
No, to
That's
answer your question, no, for me, yes, like you said, the likes and adoration and the responses is good, feels good, because you know you're reaching something or somebody in that sense. But for me, it's more about trying to get you to move.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing it, you can do it.
Mm.
And I
Absolutely.
mentioned this on my interview with, with Haley Alexander from. I'll leave the link in the description below. And she asked me the same question, and I said, no, it's not about the adoration. It's more about giving somebody the best opportunity to show up for themselves. Because, coming from after coming out of the hospital, I knew there's so many people out there who are struggling and just don't have any direction. And they're just walking around with no path or no light. And you could see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
Hence why I started. After I'd done my work, I made a decision to say, you know what, let me start sharing my journey. And in turn, let's see how this goes. And
Yeah.
funny not, um, you realize how many of your close counterparts are going through the same thing. People really close to you within your community or your inner circle. And the responses I've got is like really phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hence, that's why I keep doing what I'm doing, even though some days it gets really tough and you feel the fatigue, but you just come back to your why again. Hence why, like, to answer your question, that's the reason why I do it.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And I think this is really good what you're doing, because at the same time, it's like, because you're telling your story, people feel brave enough to tell theirs. And something that I grew up with is people often telling me, but don't talk about these things. Like, don't tell other people your story because they're going to talk about it or they're going to turn it into some sort of lie or a rumor or gossip or some sort of thing like that. And that's still happening today. I'm absolutely saying that that's still happening today, that people can do
sure.
those things. But it doesn't matter, does it matter at the end of the day if they're doing it or not, because I'm not actually associating with them. So it's like, if they're doing it, like I can see all of the people that I know could be doing it, watching my profile, my story or whatever. It could be people in the family or old friends or people that I've known in the past. And I can see it, but I know that there's nothing that they can do about it. They're not doing anything damaging. They're doing it in the background, separate from whatever it is that I'm doing, and it's not affecting me. So it's actually up to me at the end of the day as to whether I want to associate with that or I don't. And it's also up to them as to whether they want to keep on following me or not. So I think it just becomes a question of like, how do you maintain your own boundaries and how do you keep your space sacred and clean and safe, and for that, I think there again, you've got to do a bit of rebelling. You've got to do a little bit of pushing back. You've got to do a little bit of, here's my boundary, and then stick to your boundary, because sticking to your boundary, that's what's going to actually attract much better people that, and say better in the sense that they are going to help you and that you can help them, you want to attract those people. Yeah.
Was it a challenge to set those boundaries for yourself?
Yeah, big time. It makes you an outcast, so to speak. It makes you an outcast. This is the whole theme of being a rebel. If you're going to be a rebel, sometimes you need to understand that that's sometimes going to isolate you from a lot of people. But I feel like it's okay, because if those are not the right people, and if you feel like people are bringing you down, and you know that the only way that you can attract better people in your life is to get away from those people, and so you're alone, that's actually okay, because you never truly stay alone for a very long time. You start to attract new people that you never knew of before. But if you keep on attracting people that you don't like, then you have to look at yourself. It's always coming back for me. It's always a question about myself. What am I doing to attract these people? It's that's what it is. It's like, what am I doing to attract these people? Like, why are they still in my life? It's a question for me to ask myself, not a question to wonder what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's mindfulness in a nutshell. It's not about the other person, it's about you.
Yeah.
Where do you
Yeah.
see you can improve, and what needs to be done to just, protect your inner sanctum, or your inner peace.
Yes. Yes.
I think a
I
lot of
agree.
our cultural, not our cultural practices, I think it's just man-made. We try not to delve too much into that, but yeah, it's something that, like somebody told me, we have the opportunity now to fix our parents and grandparents' problems. It's a responsibility that you either are willing to take on or not. You choose,
Yeah.
and it's
You
nothing
choose
nothing
that.
against them. It's nothing
Yeah.
against them. It's just
Yeah.
we're just trying to better it on for the next generation. That's it.
You try to take what you can and you better it. And I think every generation is going to have some set of problems. It is our job and our responsibility and our obligation to actually go in there and fix problems that is currently occurring in society. I do feel a sense of responsibility towards that. So, I also want to just extend that if you find anybody struggling with gym or they're struggling with fitness or they're struggling with diet, you can actually like connect me with them, because I will talk to them. I will, I love just talking to people and seeing where they are with things. I think that we can both help each other. That's the community I actually want to build.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah.
I'll do that. Thank you for that, and I appreciate you extending your greetings, and it's rare in this day and age to actually extend that out and say, yeah, let me help you.
Yeah. We should do that. I think we should do that. Yeah.
I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, and something called accountability. A lot of the times we don't take accountability on ourselves, and we expect it from others. Did you? Is that something that now that you practice?
Yes, I believe that. And as we were talking, I thought of this really funny quote. It goes, why is everybody acting like a bunch of clowns? But then why do you keep going to the circus? So it's
Yeah.
like, so it's like,
Oh, it's not like,
I
oh,
think
it's not my monkey, not my circus.
exactly right. I can't control what people are doing, but I can control what I'm doing. So it's kind of like, this goes hand in hand with the boundary setting thing too. But it's like accountability needs to come from yourself, and accountability needs to come from within. If you can't question the things that you're doing, and you can't put yourself in a situation where you have to fight for either your survival or you fight for something better for your life, you're actually lying to yourself. So for me, I'm big on truth seeking. It's something that I often talk to people about, is just finding the truth. I can't be deluded, right? It's like, if I know that I'm not happy in this corporate job, right? So what am I going to do about it? But before I get to the what am I going to do about it, first I have to actually hold myself accountable to see, what am I doing? There's a question of femininity that we touched on earlier as well. And the question of femininity is that, sometimes when you are a female, especially, and you're headed into that corporate workspace, you've got to be really tough, especially if you want to get promoted. There are certain tough behaviors that become very masculine inside of you that manifest. It starts to manifest naturally, because it's a
Yeah.
thing about survival. Like, you have to. So sometimes you have to put away some of these feminine characteristics, and it makes you, yes, it makes you maybe stronger for the corporate environment, but at the same time, you maybe lose a lot of what you have as a female, as a woman. So for me, it's like that accountability thing is really important, because I have to also accept that I have gone down a certain route to get to a certain point where I now had to reverse some of the behaviors that I was doing in order to become more feminine and to really like embrace my femininity again. And only when I could actually find that balance again, tell myself the truth about what I was doing, then only could I actually start a healthy gym journey. Because let's face it, I can't tell you that I'm a healthy person and I'm doing all this Ayurveda and I'm doing gymming and stuff every single day, but I'm just this nasty person at the same time, right? It just doesn't work. There's a clash. There's a clash in that situation. And so you have to like release that delusion about yourself by sitting down quietly without anybody to judge you and just come up with it on your own and say, these are all the wrong things that I know I'm doing, or these are the wrong things I think I'm doing. and really just think about that. Really just reflect on that. And that reflection is so important. Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake influencers out there who actually don't love the life they portray online.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easy to get attracted to that because it's aesthetic, right? We all, let's be honest, from from a male perspective, we're visual beings. We
Yeah.
like things that are nice and look
Yeah.
pretty. That's
Yeah.
the honest truth.
Yeah.
Some people don't admit that, but yeah, that's
It
the
is
way
what
we are.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like you said, it's the accountability part is very important, and we have to take ownership of what we do or what we can control. Basically, that's it.
Yeah, I believe that. I truly do believe that. And I truly think that it's really important for us to actually find that central theme that is directing us in a particular, on our path, in a particular way. And I think you need to, as quickly as possible, just find out what is it that you actually want to achieve by the end of your life, or what do you want to achieve in the next 10 years. Those questions really scare people, and I get it. I get that it's scary. I get that some people maybe don't know the answers to what's happening next week or from a financial perspective. But
Correct.
that's not what I'm saying. That's not the argument here. Even if you're in a bad financial situation, of which I have also been, I think you have to still have some sort of plan to go forward into, something that you're going to work towards. Like, how are you going to get yourself out of this problem that you're facing, and how are you going to get yourself into the next level, and follow those steps. And that following of those steps is actually what knocks people off the track most of the time. So I think a lot of people fall off the track. It's not about falling off that's the problem. It's about, like, but will you get back on?
Yeah.
And that strength is something that it has got to be built over time, but it's got to be built through experience and through practice, lots and lots of practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of long hours of frustration as well. But you get to and then you get to that aha moment, and everything just makes sense again.
It does. It can. I think that you don't need to feel pressure to tell everybody everything that you're doing. I think one of the things that I like is I try to keep as silent as possible. But I tell people the truth about what I'm doing and stuff like that. But there are certain things that about my plans and about what I want to do in my life that I'm not telling people. So I can't tell them every single thing, right? So those things which I keep to myself is basically the stuff that I want to trial and error. And I want to actually do that. I think because I'd need to do that over and over again without somebody judging me, without somebody constantly whispering in my ear, oh, you can't do it, oh, this thing doesn't work. I try to minimize all of the fears that people can place inside of me unnecessarily, by eliminating those voices. And I think that's how I can test it out before I actually put it out. Yeah.
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 You struggle with criticism? I'm just picking up on that.
Not really, but I struggle with if I'm doing something and I fail at it. And let's say it's a business idea, or let's say it's I didn't go to gym today or whatever, and I felt really bad. I don't want people to, like, keep me down by validating that it's not going to work. It's hard. It's not for you. So I want to minimize those voices. I want to remove that from my sphere so that I can do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not too concerned about self-criticism. That's something that you thrive on.
I don't think so. I think I criticize myself. I think I criticize myself pretty harshly. Yeah. I think I really criticize myself really harshly, but it's not as powerful as somebody else telling me that I can't do it. So somebody else criticizing me not constructively is harsher than if I have to do that to myself. So I find that I can figure out the problems and then solve those problems in my own head faster than putting it out there and having other people judge it unnecessarily. I think I need the accountability from people, but I don't need a naysaying. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And when you have those dips in your journey, is there somebody like just to be there for you, or do you self motivate yourself to keep going?
I need people, but very key people, not every person. Like, I think with the gym journey, the community is phenomenal. They are motivating me 100%. But if it came to anything else, like if it's a mental struggle or if it's an emotional struggle or it's a business challenge struggle, if it's something that's, really deep, I can't solve the problem there and then. I think that there are key individuals that I do have in my life that I would turn to for that support. And it's really important
Right.
to have those key individuals. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think
No,
it's
100%.
necessary to, yeah. Yeah. Hope I answered the question.
Yeah, no, yeah, it makes sense. It does because it's important to have. You don't have a coach, right? It's just yourself.
Yeah. I don't have a coach. I'm just doing
Okay.
it on my own. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also very challenging too. When you don't have somebody to say, "Hey, let's get going. Come on, let's go." It's yourself.
Yeah, it's challenging, but it's doable. It's very, very doable. Yeah, you can motivate yourself. You can build a community that motivates you, and I think that's all you basically need. Yes, some people do need a coach. I really do think a coach could take you a long way, but I think there's a lot we can do on our own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm similar to you. It's just myself. It's very difficult because I've been with team sports all my life. Always had somebody to guide me along. But when I started to just be on my own, because I've got so much of training and advice, you are able to take that now onto you and help yourself. Not saying you don't need advice from anybody. It's nice to have that now and then. But now you've generally, like I mentioned earlier, you have the tools now
Yeah.
to to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I saw your channel. It's really lovely. It's so lovely. It's populated with such nice, people that you brought onto it. And, I love that, you're really connecting. I like people who connect like that with a lot of different people and bring them onto a platform in a very streamlined way. And it's aligning to a particular value system. And it's just
Yeah.
so well done. So yeah, well done. I really, really like it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I hope it reaches more people.
Yeah, no, it's taking a lot of work for you to do that. It's looking good. Yeah.
No, like I said, it's somebody asked me like how much of work goes into it. I'm like, there's a lot, but it's something I love doing. It doesn't feel like work.
Yes, I hear you. That's how I feel too about the gym.
Yeah, a lot of us, maybe like you said, when you're in a space where it's just a requirement, it doesn't feel like you putting your energy into it. It becomes a monotonous thing, and you don't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like right now, thankfully, both within professionally and side hustle wise, it's both fulfilling, and it's something I love doing. But it took me a long time to get there,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people will understand the journey or the trials
How
and
long have you
tribulations
been?
that you have to go through.
Yeah, yeah. How long have you been doing it for?
So, like I mentioned, since August last year,
August last year. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's coming
yeah,
up to a year now,
yeah,
and it was something I've always contemplated in my mind. And one day I just pulled the trigger and asked a friend if she'd come on a live, and that's how it started. And then the ball started rolling from there, and it just kept going. I started like improving myself because not from the beginning, it's very raw. You don't know yourself.
yeah,
You don't understand. Okay, how do I sound? Do I have
yeah,
everything I need? Trial and error. But
yeah.
as you go along, you get better and better and better. And there's still more ways to improve delivery, how I present myself, the output, those kind of. Because you think about all those things. Let's be honest. It's the same thing in life.
Yeah. But you're always thinking about how to improve. I think that's normal. But the fact is that I like it when people, like when you start something and you actually like see it through and you do it and you see the result of all of that hard work. It's refreshing. And that's what's actually, I could say that's equivalent to cash in the bank. Once you get it, you feel motivated to do more, to get it again, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like they say, you never know the value of water until you're going, you know, pick it up yourself.
Yes. And then you're flying. But if you never do it, you won't know. So what are you gonna work off of? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, your daily practices, what's something that besides from uh, fitness, what other practices do you incorporate into your wellness journey?
Well, besides the business that I do, the businesses that I do, and the business that I just started, which is my online store, which keeps me very, very busy, I enjoy playing chess. So I'm a chess player and I love it.
Awesome.
I
You're a
mentioned I did
grandmaster,
game.
right?
No, no, nowhere near.
Okay.
But I'm at a good level.
Okay, good.
uh, so that's a very social activity I do actually like. And I do feel like I like gaming a lot. So I mentioned gaming before. I do game. I game online. A variety of different games. I just really enjoy that kind of community too. It's pretty, really cool. It also goes hand in hand with the gym community. Surprisingly, they're the same people in there. So a lot of stuff like that I do. Other than that, I really enjoy cooking. I enjoy just focusing a lot on the diet angle. So I like planning it. I like going out and getting natural fruit and veg. I live in Cape Town, South Africa, so we are very blessed here
Oh,
to
wow,
get
yeah.
some of the best produce in the entire world. So I like going out to farms. I go and I find eggs and I find wine and I find really cool crops and stuff like that. I live in a very sort of country-like environment too. So the stuff out here is very fresh all the time.
Oh.
So I like engaging with that. That's a really important part of the lifestyle change that I made in order to have a better health experience. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are transitioning to whole foods environments or
Yeah.
cleaner environments, similar to one of the guests. She also from Pretoria, Lodium, and now in Cape Town. Living in Cape Town. She's Ayurvedic practitioner, and I'm pretty sure she gets all
Nice.
the fresh produce as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have the opportunity now to. There's no
You
excuses
should
not to.
connect me.
I will. I will. I will. I
Yeah.
will. I will send you her Instagram profile. You can
Yeah.
have a look because she's in
Yeah.
Cape Town as well.
Nice.
Her episode, I'll send you her episode as well. You can listen to it as
Nice.
well.
I'd love to. Yeah.
Actually, her name is Janishta. So if one, I think, yeah, Janishta Gagji. She's on one of my episodes. If you go through my
Well.
playlist,
Yeah.
you should see it. You should see it there.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Sounds good. I
I'm
love that.
happy
Yeah.
to. I'm happy. That's the purpose of it, right? Just to
Yeah.
connect people and share like-minded interests, and you never know because one a success story is similar to your story is that I actually linked two people together from school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is such
Nice.
a heartwarming thing because
Yeah.
a friend of mine was looking for healing because she's going through a lot of tough time at home, and her physical health has deteriorated, and she was looking for somebody that could help her, that she could really trust. And another girl, Anusha, she's also an Ayurvedic practitioner, who was on the podcast. They were actually in class together, and that's how because she listened to my podcast, and hey, I know her, and I didn't
So
know she was
cool.
offering these services. And
Yeah.
now, you know, hold and behold, it's they've connected now, and they're starting to help each other.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Well done.
Thank you. Um, to stay authentic, you've created now your clothing brand or your merchandise. What started that? What was the trigger to say, hey, let me express myself through merch?
Yes. So I started to feel really happy about this fitness journey. It's been a year now that I've been going strong and I've seen consistent results. So I started becoming really body confident. And I thought to myself, how can I really pronounce my signature a little bit more? I want to see more of my identity come into the world, my life, in my environment. I want to see myself. When I look in the mirror, I don't just want to see a fit body, but I want to see somebody dressed in the way, in a style that I felt comfortable, that expressed who I am. So I just started designing clothes for myself. And now I feel like I can actually share that with other people too. So I'm starting this business because I want people who are like-minded to also feel like they can express themselves in the same way. And yeah, that's what started it. And it's very exciting. It's allowing me to be very creative. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm just having a look at your page now, and the brand, and it's really appealing. It's really clean. very simple, and I think a lot of people um, would be attracted to it. You know, do you have an online store, or is it just uh,
Yes.
okay?
I built an online store. I'm really proud of it. I want everybody to check it out. I
So
really,
yes, the
yeah.
description, people check it out. Support Akashni and her journey.
Yay.
Yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, it's something I've also been thinking about. Just really, just need to get all the logistics right of it, and then we'll try and do something in that space as well.
Nice. Very nice.
Like you said, we're always trying to improve ourselves and try and get
Absolutely.
the name and brand out there, because that's part
Yeah.
of it as well. You just want to reach as many people as you can, and this is one
Yeah,
one way of doing it.
we really only have this one life. I feel like we should try and do as many things as possible that we feel great about. We should try and just do what we think is gonna not just work, but what we feel passionate about, what we like. And more of these experiences that we have, the better. So it's kind of like I just jump in there. I've done all the planning. I don't want to keep on thinking about what I'm going to do and what I'm going to do next. I just want to do it. Because it's exciting, and I feel that there's no time to really waste. Like, let's do it. It's like, let's build a store. Let's go to gym. Let's do it.
Yeah. And how's the analytics been? Good.
Yeah, yeah, great. Well, we're so new, right? We're just
Okay.
started, and so I feel like I just want to monitor these things. I love business. I love business. It as a topic, I just love doing it. So for me, it's that methodical, sort of calculated building that I want to just get stuck in. And so that keeps me busy for a lot of the day, and just enjoy doing that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Congratulations to you on that. That's a tick on your, like you said, on your journey as
excited.
well. Amazing.
Thank you.
Within our own community, do you see something that we can improve on to get the message out there? Because I think I still feel we're very in the infancy stages.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would really like to highlight about our community, that I'd like to get the message out on, is that we should share more stuff. I just look at a lot of people and how they're hiding. I have lots of cousins, especially women, who will not share their social media handle. They don't want anybody to find them. They will lie about their age so that nobody can
Oh
see that
no.
it's really them, kind of thing. And I'm thinking, like, we can't do that forever, people. Like, we've got to actually have the social media page if we want to. We've got to be able to do things. So I would really say that we're not very good at communicating with each other about real stuff. And it's like something that I've decided to do when I put out my posts on social media. Sometimes I will actually show a piece of fat that I maybe have. Honestly, I don't care, because I don't feel like it looks terrible. And even if it does, that's the point, because it's like,
Exactly.
I want you to see where I am. So it's kind of like, I don't expect everybody to go to do that now. I'm not encouraging everybody to go do that, but I'm saying that I want to show you what is real, so that when I show you next year how I've changed, you can actually see from A to B, how does she go? And I think that's a more authentic side of who we can be. And I would like to see more people in our community, especially, do that. Because I think, with, like we say, with white people and all that, they have more content that where they're sharing this stuff. It's not so taboo. And it's not the end of the world. But I feel like for Indians, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be the end of the world, because it's not. So it's like, I would really like to encourage more, especially women, because I'm a woman, so I can appeal to more
Sure.
females. But men or women, I want them to just express more. Tell us the challenges. Tell us what's real. We're not going to judge you. Some people are going to judge you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I could have easily shied away and just did an audio podcast because I have these marks in my face, which they popped up now
It does.
in
It
the last few
doesn't.
years. Doesn't
Nothing.
matter. But
It
you're
doesn't
you're
matter.
showing people that there's strength in vulnerability. That's what it is. There's strength. When I was in our communities, it was stated as a weakness. Don't show your emotions. You gotta be manly.
Yes.
You gotta be this. You gotta show up.
Yes.
Especially from a brown man perspective, it's
Yes.
very difficult because you have to fit in certain boxes. It's very
Yes.
difficult, and I think that's why I think a lot of people have reached out and said thank you for sharing, because I feel they felt like they couldn't before because of the, like you said, some social practices or
Yes.
aspects that we need to fit in. But it doesn't matter. I can like you said, I have stretch marks. I have picked up weight because of, I've always been lean, but because of medication through my journey, I picked up some weight. But now I can do something about it. Eat cleaner, exercise. Those kind of things you can control. Other stuff is beyond your control. Control what you can within yourself, and that.
Yeah. Just control yourself and show people. You don't have to show people what you're doing, but you can
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want to. And if you do, like, I'm tired of seeing like the fake stuff. So it's like you say, social media influencers are really like putting out a lot that's just not true.
yeah,
I don't want to see that. Like, it doesn't help me and it doesn't make me feel like, hanging on to whatever they're going to post next. I don't feel like I'm going to get value out of this, right? But I
yeah,
will feel like I'm going to get value out of when somebody actually shows me, okay, I was at this weight and now I'm at this weight. And I want to see that. I don't just want to see like the results like before and after. I also want to see what challenges you face because I'm currently going through that with you. So it's
mm,
like people who are following me, they are going through those challenges with me, whether they're telling it to me or they're not telling it to me. But the fact that they follow, they like the thing, they like the post, I know that they are also feeling like I'm struggling on this journey, but here's a person who's actually doing it. Oh, she didn't feel like going to gym today. I also don't feel like going to gym today, but she went anyway. So I'm going to go. So it's kind of like, this is the effect we want to have on society, not this rubbish where we're just telling lies to one another.
exactly. I seen your last post, and you had that, your alter ego of, oh no, I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah,
That was fine.
because that's how I feel.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
me motivating myself to get up, get up and go.
Yeah, I mean, that's how, and people will see that, and hey, I can do this for myself. It's how we speak to ourselves that's important.
Yes.
If we tell ourselves, oh no, today I just want to chill, I don't want to do anything, I'm just gonna take it easy, I'll go tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, I should have went yesterday.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
It's fine. Sometimes you won't go. It's okay. As long as like I look at my calendar every week and I go, oh, I have these 5 green blocks. It means I need to go to gym 5 times. So it's like if I don't go one time, it's fine. If I don't go 2 times, it's also, it's fine. But if I don't go 3 times, oh no, then we got a problem. So there's a system there that I've set up for myself. I know I have to actually like make it happen. So you can't be overly strict on yourself as well, because then you will truly fail at the thing faster, which is not
Yeah,
good. But you want to actually keep to something that's plausible for you. But I also believe like if you don't have a system, it's already you're setting up for failure. You must have a system. Yeah, you got to
yeah.
put something in place. Yeah,
Yes, like a mind memory hack that you place within yourself. When you start doing these things, when something is not right, you feel it. You'll know
yeah,
something is not right.
yeah. Even if
Like
you
for
put
me, if I
sticky
don't,
magnets or yeah,
exactly,
whatever you
or
want to
little
do. Yeah,
notes, some
yeah,
sticky notes
sticky
or
notes. Yeah,
something,
yeah.
affirmations or something around, just to subliminally remind you, okay, I'm worthy, I'm enough.
Exactly.
Those
Yeah.
kind of things help. We took it for granted back in the day. We thought it was crazy.
Yes. And I have a lot of people like would tell me like, oh, but how much gym can you do? You can't, you're going to the gym, you're doing too much now, it's too much gym. And it's like, I'm sorry, man, I can't talk to you anymore. Bye, bye.
But it's not
like,
about that. It's not about that. It's not about
yeah.
just, oh, how much are you doing? No,
Yeah.
it's something that you love doing. And why should we stop doing what we love? Isn't that the whole purpose of life? No.
That's it. So that's why it's important for me to flood my inbox and my life with positive gym going people's comments rather than the negative, because I know the negative is always going to come, right? And especially on social media, negative is going to come. The funny thing is that if you just have an overwhelming amount more positive people, the negative stuff, which is inevitable, won't matter.
Yeah. I'm very soft in that way. I used to take things a little too personally. Hence why I leave my profile open, comments, whatever. Say what you want to say. It's okay. Because I know it's something that will make me stronger, and will just help me navigate my anxiety a bit better.
Yeah.
Because I know the more I'm exposed to it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah. Good. You build that resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to do, but it's something you have to do.
But that's good.
That
That takes strength. That takes
yeah.
its own strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
So in terms of before we close off, guiding others, are you coaching at the moment or mentoring anyone?
I'm not coaching officially, but like I said, if you have people that would just want to have a conversation about where they are in life, like I'm happy to do it. I don't, I feel like I'm at that stage in life where I'll talk to people as long as it's purposeful about, what I'm focused on, which is gym and health and all of. They have a positive mindset and they just want somebody to talk to. I'm happy to do that. I have one person who I'm mentoring at the moment. He's a young 18-year-old and he's come from a poorer background and he wants to start a business. But this kid is like super like charged. He's like on fire. He wants to build a business. He wants to move. Like, he doesn't want to, waste time. So for me, it's like I really enjoy working with personalities like that. It's very similar to my personality. And I do actually enjoy when younger people, especially, have that drive and motivation because at that age, there are so many things that I knew that when I was that age, I was getting told, no, you can't do it, or, it's impossible, or it's not for us, or stuff like that. And I want to be that person who's going to tell you differently. I want to be that person who's going to whisper in your ear that you can do it. You are going to do it. So yeah. So I think if, people who want a positive injection, that's who I'll speak to, but I won't officially mentor them or I don't do it as a service or anything like that.
And I always ask my guests just one last question. Uh, Young Akashni, what would you, if you could go back, what's one message you could give to her?
I would say learn how to say no there and then. I don't have a problem with saying no to anybody now because of life experience. But I think back then I was pretty timid. And I think I grew up learning that I needed to be overly polite when I didn't have to. I grew up in a very feminine sort of state, but I felt that it's not always very forgiving to somebody who can't say no. So it's not to associate femininity with not being able to say no, but masculinity is surprisingly associated heavily with action taking. And I find that women lack that drive and action taking because of things like we're not allowed to say no to somebody, or we're not allowed to come across as it comes across as mean spirited if you want to put a boundary in place, or maybe you're just, excuse my language, but maybe you're bitchy, or, you're coming across like you're just impossible to bear. But you don't have to be impossible. You don't have to be like this, I don't know, this heavy person. You don't have to do that. But I do actually feel like I would tell myself that if I'd learned to say no politely and faster, it would have been better. I could have saved myself a lot of damage because, you meet people along the way, but you're not able to deal with them. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Akashni. You're welcome. And thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. It was real, raw, and unapologetically, confident as well. We all just need to be reminded that your strength doesn't always look like what we're told. It takes a moment to shift that narrative. And if Akashni's story resonated with you today, just make sure to follow her journey, show her love and support. And also remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It'll just go a long way in helping others. And I can also bring you a lot more guests like Akashni. And people, thank you so much for joining in today. And until the next one, stay zen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.